young Charles McDonald is.
I think it's pretty great. I think it's fun stuff.
No. Izzy, we can't do this anymore, man.
Because then it becomes mockery. Then we're going to mock you for being so young, and I don't really like to do that to people. So
You can
no
mock
more
me.
talking about
I'm
that.
impervious.
You don't do mockery, Izzy. Well, first off, we need to mock JJ Redick right now. Speaking of mockery, because tell us what you were just telling us before the show.
Well, this is what I was afraid of. I didn't want to make too huge of a deal about it, but I did tweet about it, so it's okay. JJ Redick needed me to tie his tie yesterday because it was his first game doing color for anybody, right? And
Yes.
I was sitting in the back doing some notes, and he comes back and he starts YouTubing how to tie a tie, and I just felt bad, and I was like, no,
So relatable.
let me do this for you. And so yeah, you're welcome.
JJ Redick. I love you, JJ Redick. How did you go to Duke and never learn how to tie a tie?
I
How
don't
does
know.
that
He
even?
said he hasn't done one in like just years. I think for a wedding was the last time he did. So
But I feel like it's
counts
kind of
for
like riding a bike, you know. Like once you tie it for the first
That's
time,
what I'm saying.
it's pretty simple to keep it going.
I don't know about that because like my initial go-to tie knot, I no longer know how to do. I only know how to do the one that I do now. So I feel like you can forget it.
I
You
learned
have a
one
fancy
and I
knot?
stuck with it. Yeah, just keep it neat for me. I don't need it on the
Alab-
rocks.
Alabaster, you know how to tie a tie, I presume, even though on this show we are also categorically opposed to the very thing we're making fun of JJ Redick for not knowing how to tie.
Of course, I forced to tie a tie in prep school every day. It's
Oh.
just ingrained in you. But I will say, I think we have to put Coach K on leader of young men probation if he has players graduating who don't know how to tie a tie.
Coach K has
Yeah.
invited 208 former players to their game against Carolina, his last home game at Cameron Indoor. And apparently, at this rate, none of them will know how to tie a tie.
Yeah, that's kind of
Half the
crazy.
stands at Cameron.
Because it's not like JJ was some like one and done player where, oh, I might not go to class, so why the hell do I need to learn how to tie a tie? He was there for 4 years. Come on.
Right. He feels like a guy who, like on a leisurely weekend, would just like wear a shirt and tie just because it's the right thing to do when you go to dinner or something.
JJ feels like the guy who would be taping the YouTube instructional video on how to tie a tie. Like,
Right.
I should click
Right.
on that video about Windsor knots, and I would find JJ Redick.
Yep. And he uploads that so people like me can hit that YouTube to MP4 when I forget, even though I don't forget how to tie a tie, but other stuff.
Just YouTube. Alabaster, Charles McDonald's just trying to out-young us at this point, and I don't like it. Where do
You've
we
never
start
YouTubed
today's
MP4
show?
or anything?
I mean,
Or MP3?
Uh,
YouTube to MP3?
I just Kazaa. Are we talking about LimeWire? Are we talking about
Yeah,
the
like
time I tried to
LimeWire type
download
of
The
stuff.
Matrix Reloaded, sophomore year of college? And
Yeah, I'm sure
wound
that's
up-
what you downloaded.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
what it was, just for the record here, what it was supposed to be was The Matrix Reloaded. What it was in reality was 2 hours of black and white Dutch pornography, which I did not try to download on purpose.
Yeah. Now
Dutch,
that we
that's
bring
very
this up,
specific.
this reminds me of one other thing I remember from high school was like when you would download songs from LimeWire, you didn't know how high the volume on the song was going to be. So like you could have a song that's low, hit that next button, and your ear's about to blow out. So that's 3 things I remember from high school.
Yes.
Wow, great.
All right, well let's
Wow.
move on to some basketball because there were some memorable results from last night in otherwise a slog of a regular season, but the 76ers rolled to their 3rd straight win over the lowly Knicks with James Harden. And the Bucks beat Izzy's self-proclaimed NBA champion Miami Heat. And our question is which result was more significant?
So Izzy, this is complicated, Charles, to catch everybody up here. Like Izzy is Debatable's corrupt mayor of Heat Island. He was
Oh, I
also
was here last time.
simultaneously. Yeah. But simultaneously, he is also the guy who was showing JJ Redick how to tie a tie while working sidelines at the Knicks Sixer game. So Izzy, how do you parse this in terms of your clearly propaganda-driven agenda?
Well, let me say this. Let's set the record straight on propaganda, because I have been paying attention ever since, I've sort of jumped on the Heat culture train, at least publicly. And this season, people are afraid to talk about the Miami Heat, man. I'm telling you, they just don't want. Like yesterday, I was doing a broadcast, and Dave Pash started talking about, wow, the East hasn't been so loaded. He started naming teams. He never named Miami. They're number 1 in the Eastern Conference, okay? And so, yes, when I look at this game, I just knew. And I kind of wondered, like, maybe this is why Charlie asked me to fill in, but I'm guessing L, had something else to do. This game means nothing to me. This result means nothing to me. Because they were without Kyle Lowry. At the end of a game like that, you need your captain, you need your quarterback to be able to inbound the ball, do all the right things. They get Kyle Lowry, they don't lose this game. What I do know about the Bucks and the Miami Heat is the Bucks can't stand playing the Miami Heat. Like,
that is correct.
They know what they're going to get out of them. Like, Giannis has gotten to be comfortable with, okay, they're going to take me away, not just for one quarter, they're going to try to take me away for the entire game. I've got to get used to giving up the ball and trying to get back. And frankly, yesterday, they didn't do enough of a good job of that, and the Heat are the only reason that Milwaukee won that game. Like, they just gave it away at the end. So, yeah, I don't really think there's much to talk about there. What do you guys think?
Wait, you said that this game means nothing to you. It apparently meant nothing to Jimmy Butler, who went scoreless for the last 36 minutes and 19 seconds here.
Odd, right?
It's weird how
strange.
one of the clutchest people who are Heat culture supporters, like how this guy somehow winds up doing just that. That's weird.
I think
it was weird, and I didn't actually see it though. Like, I just watched some highlights and stuff, so I don't know if Jimmy might have a great game tonight against Brooklyn, in Brooklyn over there. So you might want to go to that game, Pablo. Actually see the Miami Heat for once. But yeah, that was just an odd game. It felt like from him.
Yeah, I think if I was, going to spread some Heat propaganda, I'd be feeling pretty good after that game. Just because, like you said, we basically had 3 quarters of no Jimmy Butler, and we lost to the defending champions by 1 point. So, at least in a situation where you look at the playoffs, and I think typically when you get to the playoffs, like, you're looking for teams that have, like, the guy. And the Miami Heat, they've shown that when their guy is not playing well, they can still hang with a team that has a guy. But I do think that the Sixers' performance was more notable yesterday, because now this is 3 straight games, and it's a small sample size, of James Harden and Joel Embiid being like the greatest offensive force in the league. I can't imagine a time where playing basketball has been this easy for Joel Embiid. I mean, the Sixers offense is flowing better. Maxey looks good. So I think just for what it means for the Sixers postseason hopes, I think the last 3 games for them have been a lot bigger than what happened with the Heat and Bucks last night.
I just want to point out that clearly Charles's Mario cap there stands for Mario Chalmers, because what a propaganda job that was. It's great that they had their best player disappear for 3 quarters and they almost
won by 1 point.
Yeah, almost winning, also known as definitively losing. Right?
But let's talk about what makes the Miami Heat great, though. Let's talk about that for a second, because they don't have a guy who's required to score. Like, Jimmy is, he knows how to control the game, he knows how to control the pace, knows how to get to the line, right? And throughout this game last night, they had, a little bit of a, not a huge cushion, but they had a cushion. Like, they had control of the game effectively. They were up 8 with 2.5, maybe 3 minutes left. And so it wasn't really required of him to do as much. You look at that bench, Tyler Hero, he scored 30. He's been doing that all season long. So when you talk about the guy not showing up, yes, they needed him to maybe catch that and maybe draw a foul on that last inbound play. But outside of that, what did they really need? Because Bam Adebayo does everything. Tyler Hero scores for you. You got Gabe Vincent hitting threes. They had a good Duncan Robinson game last night, which doesn't happen all the time anymore. So yeah, I think Charles just said it. It doesn't really matter. See, I know he wants to get in.
So
but I've been trying to talk Miami Heat for so long, and now he wants to get in on the Heat because they lost. He's gonna go when Pablo says to go. Okay, so yeah, the Miami Heat, the way they win, no one-man operation.
All
Pablo,
right.
What do you think we should do next?
Alabaster, the sad pawing of your tiny alabaster hand has really provoked my empathy. So what the hell do you want to say?
I need to set the record straight. As a fair and balanced journalist, we talked about on Tuesday whether or not the Heat were the best team in the entire NBA. But more so, I need to focus on the gall, the unmitigated temerity of your take, Izzy, that it is good that the Miami Heat do not have a go-to scorer down the stretch. In NBA history, it has never been good to have a guy who can
did
score
not
in
say
isolation at the end of games.
did not say that they don't have one. Said that they didn't necessarily need it last night. They just got screwed up on all the inbounds. Like, They did not say, hey, we need somebody. Like, yeah, Tyler Hero had the ball in his hands. They scored and got a couple of turnovers. Okay, that's not Jimmy Butler's fault. Like, that was just a couple of plays from Tyler. But no, they definitely have go-to offense is what this team has. They can get a wide open three if they need it. The whole idea of just having the one guy, like Giannis is the one guy, right? But what did he have to do in order to win a championship? Know that he isn't the only one who has to throw his, neck at the rim every single possession, and you can share the ball. So, yeah, I think that's
Alabaster, are you just about to yell Chris Middleton at the microphone? What are you about to say here?
No,
Where your Kenny Pickett hands?
I'm just going to reference that Giannis dropped a 50-burger in the finals while dismantling everyone by himself to win the title.
Okay. Listen, Jimmy Butler had a LeBron game in the finals too, but whatever.
You know what? You know what Jimmy Butler is doing this season though? He's shooting 19% from three. Russell Westbrook is a better shooter right now.
And
Jimmy
how
Butler.
impressive is it that he's going to finish in top 8 in MVP voting with that percentage of three-point shooting?
I mean, I guess.
Also, oddly enough, shooting I think a career high from the free throw line, shooting a great number from the free throw line. Can't shoot it from a few feet back. Weird.
Yeah, it is very strange. Jimmy Butler, shooting 88% from the free throw line, which would be helpful if, maybe you had 3 quarters in which you needed to score a single point and you scored 0 of them. That would be an issue.
Let me move on to the Sixers because you guys got me sweating over here. With
I'm about to give you the take.
For the podcast audience, Izzy is on Heat Island. His background for the entire time we've been doing this show is the island that,
oddly wearing a jacket on an island, but I am. So the Sixers, I think, Charles, as you mentioned, with the small sample size, I think it gets smaller when 2 of those games are against the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like, this Knicks team just doesn't – I mean, they had a great first half yesterday and still ended up, probably could have lost by 20 in that game. And so, look, this team is going to be really, really good offensively. Like, James Harden, if he's hitting shots, I mean – the way Joel Embiid has just turned into an unstoppable force. It doesn't like him taking fadeaway 15-footers or 18-footers used to be a thing of be like, yeah, I'll take that. Now it's cash. Like, I don't want him taking any shots. And so you throw in a guy with James Harden who sees the angles on plays and sees how to run that pick and roll better than even like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid could run it, obviously, because Ben Simmons does not have the shooting prowess.
I agree with that.
I was very light on that. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a dynamic pairing. I think they're going to be great. I think teams like, Miami, Milwaukee are going to say, hey, Tobias Harris, you're going to have to beat us. Maybe even a little bit of Maxey. Hopefully he has a bad night. He's young. You're going to have to beat us. But they're loaded. Like, they're loaded. And so what I want to see is just against a great defensive team before I say too much, though.
So this is, noted, right? Beating the Knicks twice and the Timberwolves once is not just a small sample. It's a contaminated sample. I understand. Yeah. But guess what I'm doing? I'm huffing this sample so hard. I love this. Dude, look, Tyrese Maxey, Izzy, you mentioned Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, who's been one of the banes of my existence for years now, unfortunately. Shout out to you, Tobias. Nothing personal. It's just that I really hate watching him play basketball. He is now the 4th option on this team because Tyrese Maxey, as Charles was alluding to earlier too, the dude is averaging 25 points off of 78% true shooting since James Harden joined the team. Like,
sustainable?
It's clearly not sustainable, but the fact that Tyrese Maxey is one leg of this, basically like what has been just 75 points, just like put 75 on the board. That's what you're getting from your threes. And I almost called him a 3rd star. I'm not going to do that. He has star, like he has the behavior, Alabaster, of a star through these 3 games. He reminds me of Tony Parker in that way. On the ball, off the ball, a guy who can be incredibly fast, faster than everybody else on the court, and also
he'll make an all-star team.
I think so. I mean, that's which is crazy again that they got to hold on to him while acquiring James Harden. Alabaster.
Small note before I let you continue. It's just that Tobias Harris did score in the final 36 minutes and 19 seconds of the game. Just want that note.
Thank you.
Sure, against the Knicks.
It's so good to not be the guy getting hammered for a player who didn't score for an entire game. I've been wearing that for months. And now beat it right back. It's great.
It's fine. I'll just counter with Jimmy Butler might be the most complete superstar in the NBA. When you include personality, when you
Wait,
include off the court stuff, when you
I'm sorry,
include bringing a team together, I
personality
think
a slider on NBA
Oh
2K
yeah,
that I didn't know
for sure.
about?
Did you not get it on 22? Yeah, it's on there.
Memes, is that a bar? Yep.
Yeah, I would, if I'm like just a fan of a team, like I want Jimmy Butler as my superstar. I've decided that because he's just a great, like you just know what you're going to get from him. You know he's got a great personality. You know he doesn't need to have all the shine and have all the numbers. And Jimmy Butler's underrated. If you guys want to kill him for not scoring for 36 minutes, feel free.
I will. Score. You're supposed to be the best player on your team. You score 1 point, you might win that game. But as I go back to my first point, this is a team that's well constructed enough to at least hang with the Bucks when Giannis is going off. And I think where the key, like where I kind of get nervous about them in the postseason, I think they're better than like those old Hawks teams that had like Jeff Teague, where they were winning like 60 games a year but not doing anything in the playoffs. Like it kind of reminds me of that vibe. But I do think that Jimmy Butler is like a better player than they've had on those teams. Just like when you run into a Giannis, whatever, what have you, or a Embiid, a Harden, I think it's like in a performance like that was kind of encouraging. If you can keep up with them while Jimmy's having an off night, maybe you can win in the postseason.
So I have to admit
By the way,
something.
go look at, sorry, I was just going to say really quickly, go look at Embiid and Harden splits against the Heat the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, but now they're together.
Yeah, splits. That's the thing, Izzy. They're conjoined now. But listen, okay. So full disclosure here. I just got like 5 phone calls about something that was terrifying. I've ignored all those calls. I also blacked out when Izzy called Jimmy Butler the most complete superstar in the NBA. Alabaster, did I miss anything there? Did that actually land in a place where we're not making fun of him for saying that at this point?
I mean,
Oh, no, I want you to.
I think if you look at what Izzy actually said, he basically described Udonis Haslem, someone who is like mentally tough, who can score 0 points in a game, and you still like him because of his personality for the team. So no, you didn't miss anything. It was just an absurd take, ignoring Jokic, Kevin Durant, Giannis, Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, yada yada yada, all the way down.
No, I considered all of them. And you should be considered lucky that your face doesn't show up because you're talking smack about Udonis. That's not going to end well for you.
I compared him to Jimmy Butler. I think that's a win for Udonis at this point.
Okay.
The most complete superstar in the NBA. Yeah.
I would take Alabaster in a fight versus Udonis Haslem.
Those Michelob Ultra commercials, man.
That on a poll. Who would win in a fight, Alabaster or Udonis Haslem? Alabaster, this would be a great time to just insert your face underneath the projector that puts those cards. If you could do that, can we? No?
Terrified, to be honest.
Fair enough.
This is when I just retreat into the background. You guys want to talk about Tom Brady?
Yes.
All right.
Weirdly.
Just talk about the Heat some more.
Yeah, we'll talk about them in like 6 more weeks when they lose in the second round, either the 76ers, Bucks, or Nets. All right, moving on. Do Tom Brady's most recent comments make you think he could be coming back?
I mean, first off, Charles is shaking his head no. I am vigorously nodding my head yes. Can we see these comments again? Because I want to actually recap.
Yeah, let me tell Pablo why he's wrong.
Here we go. Okay, so Tom Brady says this, guys, quote, "I'm looking forward to some golf in the next few days and some more family time, and then we'll figure out where we go from there." End quote. More from Brady. "I wish I had a clear vision of what the future holds." I mean, that to me smells like a guy who is not loving retirement definitively, and he does actually think about what would it be like to be the quarterback of, say, the San Francisco 49ers. But tell me why I'm wrong, Charles, because you had that instant reaction.
Well, I think one thing that's interesting about this decision is that he's certainly good enough to come back and to be welcomed back by the Bucks, which is just kind of unusual in this case. But to me, like when I read those quotes, to me it just kind of sounded like someone who's been playing football since like 1990 and doesn't know what the hell they are outside of this game that has basically been their entire personality for the past 3 decades. So, I mean, Tom's been playing in the NFL since 2000. What does he even know about not being an NFL player at this point?
That was 12 years before you graduated high school, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah. Remind you.
So when he says, "I wish I had a clear vision of what the future holds," of course, I believe him because he doesn't know what to do without football in his life, and maybe that's a reason why he would go back. But to me, these quotes speak to someone that is like trying to reingratiate themselves into normal life, and he hasn't had to do that in a very, very long time.
I was reading his quotes, man. First one I read, it sounded like he was just saying "F them kids." Like he's like, I've spent enough time with my children. It's time to get away now.
I also sensed that.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
And then the other one is just asking for a superpower. Like he's just asking for being able to see the future, which we would all love to be able to see clear vision of what's ahead of us. And so it seems like he's just dropping these just to get us to talk about this. But the idea of him playing in San Francisco, when coincidentally you might be reading some rumors about Trey Lance not being ready yet and Jimmy Garoppolo still moving on, well, that seems like an ideal marriage there if he wants to go that far. And I believe part of the reporting was the 49ers were his first choice, right? After he left the Patriots. So I can absolutely see a Super Bowl ready team with a great coach where you can just drop in Tom Brady and say, okay, win us a Super Bowl and get number 8. Like I could see that.
Yeah, I got to admit, everything you guys are saying, right? Even Charles, like what you're describing, a guy who is like returning from space for the first time in like 20 years and is reacclimating to this strange planet. Its gravity feels different. Everything about this is alien. That all makes me think that astronaut wants to like get in another rocket and return to where he came from. You know, because I'm just like, yo, Tom Brady, you know, and this is where I put my conspiratorial tinfoil hat on, right? Like the fact that he didn't thank the Patriots in his sign-off from Tampa. So the one theory had been, man, he must really hate the Patriots. But what if the other theory, which I'm now developing after listening to these quotes, is like, what if Tom Brady was just trying to get out of Tampa and this isn't the end? In which case it would make sense that you don't do the full-on like career retrospective.
Right.
And by the way, here is Bucs GM Jason Light saying, quote, we'll leave the light on. You always leave the light on for a guy like Tom Brady. You have Bruce Arians, as Alabaster pointed out via card before, saying we won't let him go anywhere else. These are the quotes of people who think that Tom Brady is having second, third, fourth, fifth thoughts about what it's like to be a full-time dad.
I have 2 questions. One, is that how you pronounce Licht? Because I've never actually heard it said out loud. I've always just said licked.
Yeah, light, right?
It's just
light. Because I once said licked on TV and was embarrassed as a result.
Well, what'd you say right after licked?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
The second question is, so there's that Bruce Arians quote that said, would he let him play for another team? And he said, nope, bad business. Do you really think, of all people, Bruce Arians is going to be the one that stops Tom Brady from playing for another team if he wants to do so? Like, he is a football god, and Bruce Arians will not be able to stop him.
Yeah.
Whatever loophole he needs, he will find.
The last game we saw Bruce Arians in, though, he did hit a player on the field. So maybe he is someone who's going to sit here and hold Tom Brady hostage. But, my biggest question is, Tom, like, why would you want to leave this situation? Like, it's not like the Bucs fell apart because they weren't talented at the end of the season.
Right.
They were just really injured. Like, you're going against Von Miller and Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd with like 3 backup offensive linemen. Then Chris Godwin's out. They're missing guys on defense. Basically, like the whole secondary is demolished by injury. So, if I'm Tom, like this situation, if guys are healthy, we're right back to being like one of the best teams in the league. So I don't know why he would want to go play somewhere else. I think that they're further along than San Francisco if everyone's there. But, I think Tom is also kind of at this point in his life where he's like, I'm Tom Brady, so I'm going to do whatever the hell I want, and you guys are going to have to deal with that.
Maybe it's Bruce Arians. Because maybe Tom just doesn't like when he has those, quotes blaming the quarterback for stuff or, saying stuff like this. Like, come on, Bruce has to pretty much thank his lucky stars that he chose Tampa, right? That Tom Brady came down to Tampa, gave him a Super Bowl effectively. So this part, I could see him being like, Bruce, I've had my taste.
Wait. I love the implication. I was listening to what Charles was describing there, and the logic there adds up, right? Like, why would you leave a Super Bowl contender to go and try and build something elsewhere? What if Tom Brady is just James Harden with better marketing? Like what James Harden should have done.
Marketing then.
What James Harden should have done is retire. Yes, and have exactly. Just do this all in a heartfelt way, and then just pull the parachute cord.
Instead, he went fat suit, which is. But by the way, I don't know what this guy does, because I haven't the fat suit stuff is kind of a joke, but he looks great right now. Like, he looks slender. He's like, his triceps are popping. Like, I don't know what he did while his hamstrings were hurt, but James Harden is in great shape right now, and it's almost unfair to those last couple franchises that didn't have him in the greatest of shape. And how did he get there so quickly?
It's like a mystery.
Alabaster threw down for the podcast audience the profile of James Harden with the fat suit.
Not enhanced whatsoever.
I am shocked, though, that the invocation of popping triceps did not lead to another photo being thrown down almost immediately. And I'm going to filibuster so that photo can be thrown down for the visual. There it is. Thank you. Yes.
Yo, Izzy, let me get that workout plan, bro.
I know, Izzy. Speaking of YouTube tutorials, how to get your pecs popping with Israel Gutierrez feels like an online masterclass.
To be totally transparent here, I had a little bit of a scooter accident, a little bird scooter accident back in October. I had a little facial issues, and so I kind of got mopey, didn't really work out a ton, probably ate horribly, and got a little bit of dad bod going right now, but I'm on like a 4-month plan, right? By my 45th birthday, it's about a month before Tom Brady's. Man, I'm older than Tom Brady.
Wow.
Then I plan on getting back to that level. And so maybe I might document it along the way because I'm always told I need to be more active on social. So maybe you guys will get a little bit of that workout routine. Just kind of take notes.
Yes.
Look, you got our phone numbers. Just text it over. That works too.
Okay. I'll FaceTime you. Every single time I go for a workout, I'll FaceTime you and you'll have to do the exact same thing.
Thank you.
What is the IG 69 plan? Yes, IG 45 plan. Let's be SFW. IG 45. Yes.
Yes. That's better.
The IG 45 method, Alabaster.
All right, let's move on.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna do a round of what are the chances. And the first one we have a clip for. All right, guys, and this is, I think, will lead to a real debate. What are the chances that this garbage man is a better shooter than Ben Simmons?
Oh God.
Oh man. I mean, without seeing the video, you know he's better.
Whoa. Damn.
Oh man.
Yo, so this is New York City. You can tell because of all of the, outdoor structures and also just the sheer wetness of that garbage jumper. Like, he is like nailing these like a golfer. Like he is putting some spin on that, a little bit of English, like aiming.
But he
to
might
the left,
also
landing in the
actually
right.
be getting garbage juice on him. So when you say he's wet, it might just be disgusting. It's an impressive trash man from distance too, because you know all those things like way differently, and he seems to be, going straight through every time.
He'd probably be one of the best shooters in the Knicks if they took him.
If he can shoot sideways like that, if he can one arm fling the ball into the basket.
I mean, he can at least play point guard. He can pass a little bit. That's what they need. Maybe he can save Thibs' job.
See, this
Pablo,
card
it's gotta upset you. It really has to upset you, the Ben Simmons trolling constantly.
Well, look, Alabaster's trying to agitate me by pointing out that Ben Simmons has only made 5 career threes, and that garbage man has just sunk 4 trash bags. And you know what? I'm numb to this. I'm numb, Alabaster. Try your hardest. What you got?
I will. First clip. Ben Simmons was actually in the video we just showed you, if you look really closely.
Okay.
And we'll roll it back.
He's one of the trash bags. Oh, come on.
There he is.
No.
Oh, there he is again.
Oh, thank you.
You're the
Thank
worst.
you for the helpful
The third
arrow.
one was Ben Simmons. The third bag was Ben Simmons, in case you were wondering.
Oh my God.
I have one
Here's the
more
thing,
video
that
to show you, though, and this is just proof
There's
that he's a
another-
better shooter than Ben Simmons.
Don't show
I don't
the
know if
fish
you remember
video.
this from
Don't
the bubble.
show the fish video. Oh,
Oh,
God.
my goodness.
What?
Wow. He literally couldn't hit the ocean.
What was that?
That's unbelievable. I don't
I've
think
never
I've
seen
ever
that
seen the
before.
fish video.
Why are you criticizing Ben Simmons and not praising the fish? That fish's escapability. Like,
Just throw it in the
man,
water.
the athleticism of that fish, though, it really is underrated. That's the thing. That garbage man may be a better shooter than Ben Simmons, but that garbage man is an awesome shooter. That fish may have been hitting the dock as opposed to the entire body of water there. But man, that fish wanted to escape from his grasp. These are all things that are all true, but Ben Simmons isn't as bad as you think. What? So, yeah. How did you guys make that card so fast? Yeah,
they're not listening to anything. They're not listening to anything we're saying outside of the Heat stuff, and then they're just going to mock me and mock Jimmy Butler. It's fine. It's fine. June is just around the corner.
Thank you. 100%.
That's good.
100%. Thank you.
So they changed the question for the podcast listeners to what are the chances that this garbage man is a better shooter than Jimmy Butler? And I'm going to say, having no disrespect to the garbage man, I'm going to give him a chance. It's 0.99999%.
Wow. I'm going to go with a nice 69%, I think, just to carry over that being.
That's a veteran move.
Yep.
See, that's a veteran move.
That's so funny, man. That's another thing I learned from high school. 69 420.
So to recap, what Charles McDonald remembers from high school, how to tie a bow tie, 69 420 is funny.
Yes.
There was once a long tennis match that you watched, but you don't remember the names of the players. And what was the fourth thing? There was one more thing
I don't remember. There was one other thing, but like I said,
you also
played
you played football. Yeah.
I think the fourth thing was that I was 35 years old at the time. I think that's the fourth thing.
Can't even imagine being that old.
Before we plumb the head trauma of Charles McDonald any further, what's next?
We have another What Are the Chances for you guys and another clip for you to watch. And this one is from our buddy Rick Barry. And our question is, what are the chances Rick Barry makes a legitimate point about NBA officiating?
Call the game according to the rule. I charted a game a few years ago, Chicago, Atlanta. 59 moving screens weren't called. 59. That's insane. I can't even tell you how many times they carried the ball, how many times they traveled with the ball. It's pathetic. I mean, for me to watch this game the way I was taught how to play the game and to watch this and what they allow to let go, it's an embarrassment. I'm sorry, it is. It's an incredible game. The athletes are incredible. What they can do is incredible. But they're getting away with murder. And I blame the officials. Call the damn game accordingly.
Wow.
For those who can't see Rick Barry, he was in the position, the truly clenched position of a guy who was in fact charting how many moving screens were in a basketball game. Just elbows to the chest, arms tucked, just furious at everyone. Man, I believe he did it too. I believe Rick Barry is unhinged enough to do that.
And I think the funny part is he was like, it's insane that they're not calling the calls, but you sat there and charted 59 missed moving screens. That's the insane part, dude.
How many screens are in a game normally?
I don't know.
59 feels like a lot.
Like, that's like at least one every possession, right? Like, what is that, Rick?
I think my answer is curmudgeon % because he has the perfect definition of that. Like, can we just give Rick Barry some love as one of the greatest basketball players ever? Because I feel like that's where it all stems from. I feel like he doesn't feel like he gets enough credit for being one of the best to ever do it. And having sons that actually played in the league as well, multiple. And this is just what makes him angry. He's like, well, if everybody played the game correctly, then everybody would notice how good I was. I think maybe that's what it is. Because he was great. And why are you spending your time like charting a game unless you work for like the officiating, union or something? Like you've got to have better things to do with your time, especially when it's just gonna make you angry. Like, what's the point?
I don't know. Alabaster, you just Google how to spell curmudgeon before you spelled that?
Damn right I did.
Okay, because I could tell the way you were pausing after you wrote that C-U-R. Like, I don't know about this one. But I guess going back to Rick's point, like, has he seen what's happened like in the NFL as they start to call more and more penalties? Like, you just ruined the flow of the game.
Yes.
And also, dude, if someone is carrying up the court, like, who cares, dude? Like, that has no effect on the game. I don't care if someone takes like 3 steps instead of 2. Maybe this is just me being young and cool and fly.
Like back when Allen Iverson first got in the league, and it was kind of clearly. Sorry, I just trampled that.
I know you just trying to make
it should have been trampled. Charles, what's your number? What number are you giving Rick Barry? What are the chances he makes a legit point here about NBA officiating?
Prune juice %.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't listening for a second. We were printing a card. What'd you say?
I said prune juice percent for
Because we value digestive viscosity.
I
yeah,
appreciate
and
that
it
'cause
seems
I
like
can
Rick's
spell
stomach
prune.
is upset a little bit. Rick's got a stomach ache, so he should get on some prune juice to deal with that, and maybe he'll enjoy the next basketball game he goes to.
So I'm just gonna Google real quick while Alabaster is doing that. How old is Rick Barry? Rick Barry, 77.
I was about to
Okay.
guess 80, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
he
you
looks
know what?
he looks really good for 77.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
he
go.
does.
I'm gonna go 77%. It's been 42 years since Rick Barry last played an NBA game. He is 77 years old, and the reason I'm giving him 77% chances of accuracy on this take is because he is making me feel young. I love that Rick Barry exists. Charles McDonald is over here trying to push me rather, into the grave, and Rick Barry is here to make me feel like I am young again. Like I'm gonna go do some MDMA in Brooklyn. That's how young I feel watching this
Wow.
clip of Rick Barry.
Wow.
Hit me on Signal, bro.
That's what you chose. That's what the young kids are doing? MDMA in Brooklyn? Okay. I did not know this.
Yeah, and they call it that too. They definitely call it that,
Yeah, we
not some
definitely
other
call
name.
that.
Yeah.
Sharks. I have a take I want to sell you.
Oh, are we back on Shark Tank?
We're back on Shark Tank.
Yes. All right.
My
Tempting my
take today.
fingers.
The most recent NBA dynasty was launched on moving screens by Andrew Bogut and Draymond Green. The take I'd like to sell you, Rick Barry is right. The game would be better without moving screens.
So
Wow.
So
it's not just Steph Curry that ruined the game. It's Steph Curry and Draymond Green that ruined the game. And Andrew Bogut, I'm sorry. So 3 members of the best team ever.
but also
Alabaster, can I ask you a follow-up? When did you start caring about this? Today? 5 minutes ago? 3 minutes ago?
As a LeBron stan, I've been caring about this for 6 years and have been waiting for someone to articulate it.
Okay, so this is where Alabaster does raise an observation that Rick Barry, I think, is correct in pointing out. This is about the giant explosion of the pick and roll that has basically changed the way the game is played, right? This is before the Warriors actually. Alabaster goes back to the Phoenix Suns, maybe most famously, right? Just like how they get to move bodies all around the court and create space for shooters. It is the type of thing that gets Bob Ryan onto CNN declaring that Steph Curry ruined the game of basketball.
Bob
which
Ryan
is a
looking
real
down at his
screenshot.
computer camera on CNN, specifically.
But I will also point out, Alabaster, that because we are on Shark Tank, a program that cares about business, the Warriors are still the most popular franchise on the planet for years and years. This clearly helped save basketball. Otherwise, basketball would be in like the toilet in terms of all of its ratings right now, to be perfectly honest, without the Warriors. So for that reason, I am out.
Charles?
My headset cut out for a second. What did you say at the end there?
I said for that reason, I am out.
Out of what, though?
Charles, you don't even watch Shark Tank.
Shark Tank?
Alabaster, he's too young to watch
Oh,
Shark
man,
Tank.
just-
Okay, no.
Next time.
I've seen Shark Tank. My headset cut out for a second, but we used to watch that and do our little MDMA in college too sometimes. So.
I appreciate
watched
the
Shark Tank
pitch,
show, though.
Alabaster. I appreciate the pitch. I do think that you have something there, maybe sort of a smaller market. Like maybe you can just talk to those specific teams who set those illegal screens on the regular. Because overall, I think the way the game is going, they have done a little bit to sort of ease the illegal screening that's been going on, especially since then. But if part of the idea is that the Golden State Warriors would not be the Golden State Warriors without moving screens, that's where it falls flat with me. So for me, it's a no.
I can't get past caring about carrying. Like, why is that thought even entering your brain?
I love the idea.
Did I just
of Rick
change the
Barry.
go-to? Did I just change the phrase from back to American Idol? Did I just go to like? I said it's a no rather than I'm out, right?
Yeah, you
Damn,
went Simon Cowell on
wrong
us.
show.
Yep,
I'm so sorry.
you went Simon Cowell.
Guys,
Simon Cowell,
just
by the way.
imagine,
Yeah.
just imagine what Bob Cousy could have done if he carried the basketball. Just imagine. My God.
Those
You
mailmen,
need one hand to dribble it.
those mailmen never would have known what hit him. Yeah.
I know he never did this, but I always just imagine. I don't know if he never did this, but I always just imagine Bob Cousy dribbling with one hand behind his back, and just the other one up here, like
Oh, yeah,
kind of the way
definitely.
Stanley did in The Office, probably.
Absolutely.
I imagine him dribbling with like both hands out in front. You know? little dog paddle action.
The dog paddle. Alabaster, dog paddle us to the next topic. What's
All right, well,
next?
we're going to close the show here with just a bonus tweet, and that is that 23% of our viewers are absolutely insane and think that I could beat Udonis Haslam in a fight. So thank you to those 23%. I don't know who you are, but the blind confidence is very much appreciated because I have none.
I would have voted
They
for
probably
you if I
think
saw
you'll
them, Tom.
cheat.
Alabaster, you know, as we close the show, it is worth pointing out you did play offensive line in high school. You, like Charles McDonald, have
Yeah,
a history
I played line
of
too.
earned toughness, trench experience, and brain trauma. So, congrats.
That's right.
You were like
One
a
day I'll
pulling
remember that
guard.
fourth thing. I played tackle and guard and defensive tackle and defensive end.
Wow.
I played
Yeah, I was
center
emergency
for
center-
about
center
3
too.
weeks. Yeah, I played center for about 3 weeks, and then I quit because I wanted to work more and make more
Oh,
money
you
at
what-
Carvel ice cream.
You want to know how my high school football career ended? So we
Yes,
had
please.
a kicker. We were in the playoffs, the first time that our conference ever had a playoff game. And our kicker the week before hurt his leg doing some dumb drunk thing. So we had to recruit a kid off the soccer team, right? And we are down 13-12 with 3 seconds left on the clock. And this kid goes out to kick the game-winning field goal, and it went so low, it almost hit the center in the back of the head. Like, it was so bad. As soon as it went off, you knew he missed it. And the best part was, this is our senior year game. They got a picture of my friend crying in the Baltimore Sun. I still have it.
Oh, you know what? Charles McDonald telling a high school football war story officially makes him as old as us. Congratulations,
Okay.
Charles.
That's right.
You made it.
Yeah.
You made
You
it.
made
I'm
it.
not
The
30
40s.
yet. I'm still 27.
It's the best
so-
decade. Oh, shut it.
Lord. I cannot believe you were born in graduated, born 2012. Just
If I was born in 2012, it'd be a miracle that'd be on here right now.